Hello, and welcome to Sports by Compian. My name, of course, is Stephen Compian, your beloved host. And I'm joined here by the man who knows the stuff about sports you watch sometimes in your free time. Corey Compian, the co-host of this program, the guy who will give you a very firm smile, maybe even a firm handshake, and some vague information about sports. How are you doing, Corey?
Doing fantastic. I feel like the title I should have is the guy that will tell you about a reel I saw this week.
Yeah.
And then I'll just kind of somehow ramble about it and I'll partially remember it. So maybe I saw a cool stat on Instagram and I'll be like, do you guys want to hear about this cool stat I saw on Instagram? Like, that could be fun, you know?
We got good information as Sports by Compian fans, and we always research deeply into every one of our topics that we present to you here. Speaking of which, the UFL has wrapped up their championship, Corey. We got to jump into that. And also, your boy was on site, in person, doing information inspection for the Hounds game as they hosted the DC Old Glory. So we'll talk about that as well. Exciting times, Corey. Without further ado, we had the DC Defenders and the Michigan Panthers both travel to the Battlehawk Stadium in St. Louis for the championship game. And
Good for the Panthers. I feel like last season they were not well off, and yet here they are just, being guys, being in the championship, competing for the damn thing.
So immediately wrong information to start it off, as we do, because, the Panthers did get to, I think, the divisional round or the semifinals versus Birmingham last year and lost. But they got past Birmingham this year, which was a big deal for them. So it was a big, exciting times for the Michigan Panthers. Problem is, they ran into a pretty fired up DC squad these last couple weeks. So without, I think most people have kind of seen this game, so we're not going to get too crazy with it. A little back and forth early going. Both offenses firing on all cylinders. You got league MVP Bryce Perkins out here doing his thing. Look how wide open this guy is.
Damn.
I
They just forgot to cover him.
You don't see those kind of wide open passes like that in the NFL. So
So what happens? The guy that's supposed to cover him double teams the other guy.
Happens. Everyone bites in on this. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, they're for sure throwing into this guy." Disregard anything else going on, and then this dude's like, "All right, I'm going to tackle my guy."
He's not within 5 at all. No, that's for sure already.
Yeah, I know. And then these two are just going to gang up on your boy, and boom, over the top.
Maybe he was going to run. The guy I was looking at. Where the fuck did he come from?
Exactly. Well, there was 3 over there. They just let one of them go. They're like, "Yeah, dude, don't do anything we wouldn't, okay?"
Yeah, you can go, but behave.
Don't do anything crazy. And he did. He did some crazy stuff.
He did something crazy.
Anyway, so not a lot of great defense in this first half. Spoiler alert: a lot of first half highlights because there was just scoring willy nilly. We had the Panthers scramble back at another one. We had DC continuously putting it up, and they got a couple field goals as well. You can see them capping off a pretty long drive here with a nice little touchdown pass. But this is really what started to set the game off. So you can see with that last touchdown, they took the lead. But then, oh my goodness, that ball's loose, Corey! No!
Special teams will kill you, man.
No!
As our boy Sketch says, special teams, special players, special plays. Or something
wow.
Like that. I don't know how the saying goes, but it's something along those lines.
I love that. That's a pretty fun quote. And then, your boy Tamu slammed it into get the DC kind of a more comfortable lead, which they sort of just held on to the whole game, because after that, they pretty much stopped Michigan again, went down another long drive. Tamu was just killing it this game, dude. My man was on fire.
I feel like Tamu has been consistently on the Defenders for 3 years now. He's been their starter there.
Yeah, he started off with the Battlehawks. They're talking about his voyage, dude. The dude started with the Battlehawks back in the first XFL, then went over to the Tampa Bay Bandits, then was with maybe one other team that landed with the Defenders. It's pretty crazy. He's been a spring football champion, and dude, I think robbed of the MVP this year. I can understand why they gave it to Bryce Perkins. He certainly played well in that Stallions game, hurt, managed to earn himself the MVP. But, dude, Tom has just been consistent all year long. Every single week, he's going to be probably like, besides Luis Perez, looked a little bit better than most of these guys in the pocket. So I think he got stolen the MVP, and I think that fired him up for this game, man, because he was
the
almost
only
perfect.
two names I know are Luis Perez and Tamu. So hearing about this, the dude from Michigan getting it, I was like, all right, bro, cool. I mean, I guess you were doing some stuff. Happy to see it.
Yeah, so where was Bryce Perkins? He went to Clemson. I remember he had a really good career there at Clemson. I forget what NFL team he was on, but it didn't quite work out, obviously, and he slipped over to the UFL. I think this is his second year now with the UFL. But anyway, so Bryce trying to do some stuff to get his team back into it right before halftime. But then look at this, Corey. Why? Why, Corey? So hold on. Why? Why this guy, and this guy?
Dude.
All just running, like, who's covering this guy, though?
He's got to be just, like, a crazy running threat for everybody to bite down
he
like
is.
that.
He's even hurt, and they're still worried about him.
They had to have thought,
That's
oh,
just
this guy's
undisciplined football. That's just undisciplined football, too. All right, so this guy, 17 dude, has been an absolute stud. Had a really long touchdown run against the Birmingham Stallions the previous week. And look at the way he just caps this off. He's just like, nope. We're going to the end zone. It's touch. It's tutty.
So I just looked up our boy here, Bryce Perkins. He did Arizona State, then he went to Arizona Western, then he did Virginia. This is all 2015 through 2019. Looks like he signed with the Rams as an undrafted free agent in 2020. And now, since 2024, he's been with the Panthers. The Michigan Panthers. Not the cool ones from Carolina, the Michigan ones.
Well, these ones are arguably cooler, aren't they? They were just in a championship game. Was the last time the Panthers were one? 2015.
The Rams for 3 years, for 2020, 2021, and 2022.
Baker Mayfield beat him out for the starting job in that infamous game where Baker came on a handful of weeks a couple days of gameplay to beat the Raiders.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then looks like he had a pretty high IQ quarterback rating in this 2025 season, which is probably why he got the MVP.
Yeah, no, he's had a really good year. I just thought that Down will probably have
the guys did better. I hear you.
Anyway, so that was like the crazy thing. All right, so you see Michigan get that long touchdown. Like they're sort of getting themselves in a position to not get blown out. Before the half is over. 38 seconds left on the clock here, Corey.
No, we're not done with you. No, we want more. No, we're going to get another touchdown. Don't worry about it.
Dude? There's 38 seconds on the clock, man. How the fuck does this happen, dude? Like, this Michigan's defense is going to look back at this film and be like, I guess this is why we're not in the NFL. This safety, why are you so far down, dude? Why are you so far down?
No, guys, listen. We have an over-under to cover. We have an over-under to cover. We're just going to get it here. Don't worry about us.
Oh, man, you're so slow, dude. Like, why are you so slow, 14?
He just gets up.
Fun fact, number 30 chasing down here, D. Delaney used to be with the Buccaneers.
Well, I see why he's there.
Yeah, he is only there for the last couple days, so he's been figuring his life out. Probably didn't quite know the playbook or the play, I guess. Anyway, that's just kind of indicative of how the rest of the game went because the second half.
Why is the over-under right on the screen next to the score, though? They're like, hey, in case you want to gamble, here's the over-under.
So shout out to whatever random YouTube video that brought this to my attention. But the way they're promoting this league is pretty despicable, dude. Like, they're just so intense with the whole gambling thing. Like, I get it's a big deal for them. They're trying to get ESPN bet off the ground. But they are obsessed with it, and they're constantly every 2 seconds they'll bring in this analyst girl who's you can bet right now on this thing or this guy to make a kick, and it's all this crazy shit she's some kind of expert. It's dude, what is going on here right now? They're really wild about it, dude. Anyway, so yeah, DC wanted to put up another touchdown here. The second half pretty much was a lot of the same. You get a desperation interception for Bryce Perkins. At one point, he just chucks it up. It was ugly stuff. For the Michigan defense, mostly. Perkins did his best. Towards the end of the game, they actually got a touchdown, do one of those fourth down conversions, get another touchdown, but then they weren't able to do another third down conversion. Because isn't that crazy with the UFL? That's pretty cool. that does really give these teams a chance to come back. This was at the end of the game, basically. They were just able to keep on trying, dude.
Just like, no, we're not done. No, for realsies, we're not over it.
It was like the last fourth quarter was basically them just trying to score more touchdowns. They got 2. They just couldn't keep it going. But yeah,
that would really help the over/under if you just have a million opportunities to come back like that.
Yeah. So anyway, at this point, if you did bet for the over, you would have been 5 because this was a massive amount of scoring in this game.
Yeah. No, the defense is they all partied
Hell, it's
together.
already over the over, isn't it?
You got 50 there, so you need 2.5. So you're a field goal away.
Jeez. Yeah.
And you're getting a touchdown instead of a field goal. So.
Anyway, let's look at some of these stats from the game. As we mentioned, Tabu just had himself a day, 390 yards, 75% completion, which is pretty wild. No interceptions, 4 tutties. Perkins had himself 4 tutties as well, but I did mention that interception where he was just kind of desperation mode, needed to try to make something happen, and wasn't able to. Our previous sports studs, Abram Smith, did have some carries in this game. Ran the ball fairly well, actually, with a 6.3 average. Chris Rowland was doing some carries and like short catches and runs. Like he really is their gadget guy and does a lot of cool stuff for them. Deion Jackson got himself 2 tutties. It was just a day. It was just a day for the old DC Defenders, Corey, as they take their first ever, I believe, championship home to DC. At the nation's capital. That's where the championship is now.
I'm sure our boy Dan's quite happy about that.
Indeed, we need to check in with a friend of the show, editor, lovely man, Mr. Dan, Mr. Shades, and see how he's feeling about all this. We'll get back to you about it. In the meantime, Corey, the Chicago Hounds were hosting their first ever playoff game in Chicago. So, of course, Sports by Compian had to be on the scene of the crime, had to check this out in person. So we were there for these big plays. DC coming out strong. They just controlled the ball like for the first 20-some minutes. It was just them pounding
looking at this screen. So this is great. We have like one dude on the ground up top there, not sure what he's doing. We have a guy down being checked by a ref, and there's like actively a play happening. Like there's clearly 3 plays on the field that 2 we're still recovering from and 1 actively happening. It's awesome. This is mayhem in these streets. I love it.
Yeah, that's rugby, baby. It's just all mayhem. And it was basically DC just pounding the ball at Chicago until like they'd make a mistake and then they'd take a kick. So DC got 3, Chicago got 1 kick, and it was just a whole lot of possession by DC in this first half. And then this was going into halftime. A little ball movement from DC. Oh no! Who's that guy?
What if we had this? Oh, I'm so much faster than you.
Goodness.
Don't worry about it. I'm just.
That's the rookie, Mr. Wall himself. Is a rookie, so getting himself a playoff try, good for him. But yeah, look at this beautiful pickoff, and then the subsequent pass after the pickoff is real class right here. Look at that offload. That's just class.
I love that. I'm getting mugged. Nice don't worry. Let me just pass this to my friend.
Yeah, it's the best way. That way you can go ahead and take real advantage. But dude, DC doesn't give up. All year, these guys just never give up. They always just go back to doing their thing and fighting. So this is still before halftime. They're playing last play. Basically, you can see it's past 40, which means that they're just waiting for if there's a penalty from DC, it could end on that. But no, they just beat them on the outside and get another try before half. Just pure hands. Nothing special about it, but they just got them on hands on the outside. So yeah, DC takes control. It takes the lead going into halftime. First 10 minutes of the second half were more of the same. DC just pounding the ball in Chicago and Chicago doing their best to survive. So much defense for the boys in this game. They finally have an opportunity where between like a couple different plays, get it down into Old Glory territory, pounding the ball at them. Look how frantic this goal line defense is, dude. Guys just like hit, and then
they're not even up. They're just like, I want to get up, but there's too many dudes. I can't get up just yet.
And then boom, that's the one. That little quick boom into the corner there. The Hounds take the lead there and actually never looked back. They sort of controlled the game from there on. Old Glory did still have more to say, but ultimately the Hounds were able to control it finally and stop DC from doing all that crazy scoring they were doing in the first half and control the ball. It was the worst. But yeah, the Hounds did a good job of surviving, weathering the storm, weathering what DC had to give us, and then look at this shit. Oh, look at that! Oh, that's
That's
fucking
such a
nice.
wild kick. Like he knew
We do
exactly
love
where that
that.
was gonna go.
It
Like
was so
so,
beautiful.
how
That,
could
that
he
kind of
just
stuff is
get
all
up?
practice.
He got mugged, but he was allowed to get back up. What's that about?
So he let go of the ball really quickly when he first got up, and then
Uh,
you could retake the ball again. So look, since he wasn't held, you see how like he's away, so he could let down the ball. Actually, kind of does right there, at least enough to get away with, and then he hop back up to his feet, and then yeah, then the boys got to come to clear him.
fair enough.
But yeah, Hounds continue to pound this ball. Then they get the final try. Go ahead and really start taking control of this game, and they've rounded it out. Sent DC home. They get their first ever win at home in Chicago. It's exciting times, Corey.
Same times, the run continues.
The reign continues, and now they will have to face the New England Free Jacks in Boston, which is rough. It's not ideal because the Free Jacks sort of kind of destroyed Miami. Dude, it was weird between them and Miami, though. Like, Miami had, like, some kind of, like, glitch with them. Like, every time they go there, they couldn't even score a try. Like, this was the first time in the playoffs they managed to at least get a try. But, like, previous to that, they couldn't even score there. They would just get, like, tons of kicks.
Do you think it's the heat?
No, so Miami going up to Boston. They haven't been able to score up there. Yeah.
Gotcha. So maybe it's cold?
It's during spring and summer. It's not very cold.
I mean, this spring was weird. It was still pretty cold during this spring.
Right.
Or it's Wizards, dude. You never rule out Wizards.
Especially in Boston.
Especially in Boston. I mean, everyone's heard of the Boston Wizards.
Right. No, yeah, that's definitely a thing. Absolutely. Look it up. Don't just take our word for it.
It's basically like if you get like 2 or 3 leprechauns and you stack them on top of each other, they become a wizard.
The real question is, does Chicago have stronger wizards as they had to head to Boston now? Could they send them with protective spells? Can they send them with little dwarfs, maybe, to carry around the kit bags?
Does Harry Dresden care enough to help out the Chicago Hounds is really the question.
Right.
Because everyone knows he's a crowd favorite wizard. Everyone knows that Harry Dresden's from Chicago.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, does he care enough to give the Hounds an extra push to maybe get to the finals? Because this will be the second conference championship they've been in. They just need to get the job done, Corey.
One can hope.
One can hope. But in other news, Houston takes care of business against LA. That was a really close game. LA got a late try to bring it within closing distance. The last 5 minutes or so, they finally got another try and got really close. But ultimately, Houston survives. And they have to travel to Utah to take on the Warriors, which has been a tall task for anyone. Utah does take care of business against Seattle. Wasn't that close. So, yeah, basically all these teams are looking for their first championship. Chicago, Utah, and Houston. Houston just got their first playoff win, so they're excited about that. But the Free Jacks try to go for a three-peat, Corey. It's kind of gross. I didn't really realize this has happened. I do remember when they beat San Diego, obviously in Chicago. That was dope. But I guess they won last year, too. In Sportsman Copy from last year. We knew about that, right? We reported on it, didn't we?
All over it, dude.
We were all over that. But now they're trying to do a three-peat. I don't know if that's okay. I don't know if that's cool.
I feel like, do they have their equivalent of a Chiefs fanatic? Because all we got to do is just arrest that guy, and then we're all set.
No, I don't know. I don't know if they have that strong of a fan base, really. I mean, but it is really weird that they're doing another dynasty over there in Boston in a contact sport.
Did you hear about the Chiefs fanatic?
I have maybe heard about him.
He was this dude that would dress up like a wolf, and he would go and he was at all the Chiefs games, and he was crowd favorite.
Yeah, he was stealing stuff, right?
He was robbing banks. He'd rob a bank in every city where the Chiefs would play.
What a wild man.
Wild man.
Wild man.
He got arrested, and then the Chiefs did it three-peat. So he was their power source. So we just have to take out the power source of these guys, and then we're all set.
Of the Free Jacks.
Yeah.
Something to consider. Something to consider as we go into...
officers. The police force is the only thing that can prevent this three-peat.
Yeah, dude, we need someone to do something, or the Free Jacks may or may not three-peat. So I think MLR should all get behind and start wishing the Hounds best, because it'd be great if Chicago could win this and avoid any kind of weird three-peats going on.
Agreed.
The league's too young to be having people three-peat, okay? That's not cool.
Can't have it.
No, not allowed. Anyway, Corey, we've talked about UFL Championship and how Jonah Tamo took care of business. We've talked about the Chicago Hounds and how they took care of business as well at home in their first ever MLR playoff game.
All
in
the
Chicago.
SBC teams just out here winning.
That's right. We're hanging on for now. Well, wait, were we DC Defender teams? Because they kind of
the Battlehawks are out, so like we default to Shane's team.
Okay, Mr. Shane's team. Okay, that doesn't make
or
sense.
Dan's
Okay,
team.
Yeah. No, you're right. All right, cool. Well, that's all we had to say about that. We do appreciate you guys tuning in, liking and subscribing. Sharing it with your friends. That's the kind of shit you're into. We're out of here though.